Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That's Eric over there.
Hey, Logan.
That is Vanessa over there.
Hi.
I'm Kelly. Deja vu, guys.
Yep.
We
Are we in the
had
Matrix?
about 400 minutes into this episode when Eric stood up and said, wait a second, I don't think I pressed record on the camera.
That's right.
So let's pretend like I haven't told you any of the stuff I'm about to tell you.
All right.
Okay.
Also, everybody tell Eric, you fucked up at the count of 3.
It's okay. It's okay. We all make mistakes.
At least I got it before we, gotten
Oh,
second or third movie in.
Oh, I
Right.
know.
Then we would
I
have,
do
fuck
appreciate
it, we're
that.
just doing audio.
you're right. Right. Well, okay. So you guys pretend that I didn't tell you any of this.
Okay.
Okay.
I went down to our buddy Carlos's place yesterday.
Oh, cool.
No
Yes.
way.
There were actually 2 things that we were supposed to accomplish down there. Well, 3 if you count getting sloppy drunk.
Oh, sure.
One was installing his new dishwasher.
Oh,
Okay.
fun.
Didn't
Oh.
happen.
You were, okay. I was going to say, you are a good friend.
Dishwashers are easy.
Really?
2 pipes and make sure that your plug is pulled so that your food
The compactor thing feeds.
yeah, so it doesn't fill up your dishwasher. They're easy. I've done it before. I'll help them.
Okay.
But the other thing was to get new author photos for the next book, which is not The Secret Language of Spiders. That comes out in a very short time. But I have a novella coming out, and I told him that I'd like to get some pictures taken that were kind of specific looking to that book.
Oh.
So like in this one, I have a little pin of a spider on my jacket in the photo.
Oh. Right.
And so I've got a little wolf pin for the next one.
Aw.
Nice.
Spoilers. And so he set it all up, took a bunch of photos of me, took some photos of me in some really old film that I'm curious to see if that turned out.
Cool.
But he was giving me why can't I think of this photographer's name? Anyway, he's taking pictures of me. He's like, oh yeah, like that. I'm liking these.
Oh, my.
I'm like, I'm finding it hard not to laugh right here.
Okay. Unzip.
That's
Or.
That's right. But so a bunch of pictures got taken for actually the next 2 releases because I am a writing machine lately, and I've got 2 novellas coming out probably in the next 9 months. But one of the photos was so good, I was just like, holy shit. If I could just walk around with this lighting all the time, everybody would just be like, who is this handsome motherfucker?
You know that every once in a while you'll just like catch the perfect light, and some stranger who goes past you just pauses and goes, oh my God.
That's right.
Like their breath is just taken away.
I'm sure that happens to you regularly. To me, 0 times so far.
Yeah. You never
I'm
know. You
I'm
did
only
get.
in my mid-50s. I guess it could still happen.
So you did have the Billy Idol day.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. So that was, that happened. Listeners, you'll remember that I went to a restaurant in Woodinville, and the hostess said I reminded her of Billy Idol because of my hair. And I was like, all right, I'll take this. I mean, I have messy, spiked up hair. So
Sure.
Then the next time I came in, she was like, Billy. And I was like, okay, that's fine.
Nice.
The next time I came in, a male host at the thing, and he goes, Billy. And I'm like, no, I don't want this circulating. Yeah, I didn't mind this one woman saying it, but now she's like, oh yeah, the dude with the Billy Idol hair. So,
Oh my
then while we're
God.
there,
Nice.
Eyes Without a Face comes on, and he looks at me and he goes, this was for you, buddy. Oh no. Oh no.
Thanks.
Incredible.
Yeah. Oh well.
Wow.
We didn't get the dishwasher in. We had lovely steak and a lot of wine. And I even said, let's get this dishwasher in. And he was like, no time. No time. We've got drinking and eating to do. So
I bet his wife was like, are you fucking serious?
she was kind of like that exactly. So when I got there, I said, "Show me where this dishwasher is." And she goes, "Oh, you'll have to move the car. It's in front of the car out there." I was like, "Where's this old one going?" She goes, "Probably in front of the car when you guys are done." And none of that got done.
Oh, God.
Sorry, Lori. Okay, let's talk about some stuff we have seen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw a bizarre movie that you guys have either heard of or not called Baghead.
That's on the Shutter Topper. I haven't watched it yet, but
I've seen like the little still for it.
Okay, I would say this is a recommend.
Mhm.
It is a movie that has come out a little too close to Talk to Me to not be able to say this is a little too close to Talk to Me. It is about a young woman who inherits a bar, and in the basement there is this thing.
Okay.
It appears to be a person with a bag over its head that is strapped down, and you hand it an item that belonged to a loved one who is dead, and it puts it under the bag and eats it, and then you can take off the bag, and it is the person that you want to talk to. Literally, you only have 2 minutes. They have a 2-minute timer. And I was like, this is shockingly similar to Talk to Me, because if you go past the 2 minutes, bad shit starts happening.
Yeah.
But it is still very interesting. I thought it was really well acted and creepy and definitely worth a watch.
It has a very unfortunate title, as that is kind of a racial or cultural slur in some places.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Really?
Okay.
That one I didn't
I'm not.
know.
Yeah, could have, if they had done a quick Google,
Okay.
they would have discovered this. And I'm sure many people will.
Well, it's called Baghead, you guys. And it's on Shutter right there. 2 words put together, Baghead.
So there.
And if that offends you, the word Baghead, I mean, then I don't know what to say. That's what the movie's called. Vanessa, what was that movie called?
I'd rather not say.
Baghead.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I went to theaters, and this will shock you all. I got to see Civil War, which
Captain America, Iron Man. Yes.
Yes, I did read a Twitter response that was like, "This is the worst sequel. They completely lost the purpose. Where is Captain America?" So this is following around a photojournalist who's going through America that's just been completely torn apart by a civil war. It is not the way that I think a lot of people would assume how this movie is set up, especially it's an A24 film. It's by a very liberal, interesting filmmaker. It is, the Western forces include Texas, Florida, and California, which is, I think, a very smart move, because then you're not sitting there going, yeah, well, it's, I got to see, look how they're portraying the South, or
blue, red, all that shit
red,
is
MAGA,
pulled
whatever.
out a little.
Yeah, they take all that stuff away. You do not know who is fighting for what side at any point when you go through conflicts. And I think that's a little bit the purpose. Like at one point they go past 2 guys who are just shooting at each other, and they're like, who's that? Like, what side are they on? They're like, I don't know. They just start shooting at me. And they're like trying to shoot back, because they're like, well, he's shooting at me, I'm going to shoot back at him. So
they don't ever get into the why of the Civil War. It's just, this is
it's just
journalists in the middle of a civil war, and that's really what the story is.
Yeah, in this kind of fantastical version of America. But I think a lot of what the story reflects is she's really, Kristen Dunst is really haggard and burnt out, and had all these ideals of being.
But what's she like in the movie, though?
Jesus Christ. And a young upstart female photographer who really looks up to her starts following her through this like torn apart America, and it's fucking brutal. But the main thing that I want to mention, perhaps again, is that it's beautiful. It's just a beautiful film. Every single shot.
What do you mean? It's the first time I've heard you mention this.
Act surprised. It is just every single shot looks like a perfect photo moment. And you just start kind of waiting for these moments to emerge as characters walk through the scenes where you're just like, oh my God, that's beautiful. That's perfect. That really encapsulates. And some of them I think are actually reflections of photos I've seen in, the National Geographic or New York Times, or they feel like iconic moments somehow. But yeah, I would highly, highly recommend it. I think they did a horrible job of marketing it. I think you're like, oh, it's going to be some crazy disaster movie. I mean, it is emotionally, it's pretty fucked up to sit through. But yeah, no, I just think it's one of the best films I've seen of the year. I just really sat there in my seat afterwards, blown away by it.
He has quite the catalog of
This
films
is
that he's directed.
Alex Garland,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Ex Machina. And
Yeah, and I love him and hate him. Like I hated
Yeah.
Annihilation. I just thought that was awful, and I love
the ending
Ex
was so
Machina.
weird. Yeah, and Ex Machina. Yeah, it was. I think he does such different things. I haven't seen The Beach yet, but
Oh, I haven't seen that either.
he was a sci-fi author turned filmmaker.
Okay.
So I think he's got these different, varying ideas, and that's kind of cool. Like this doesn't feel like anything. I can't compare it to anything else he's done.
I know that it's like A24's biggest opening movie and all that.
It's the most expensive movie they've ever made by
Okay.
far. So
Well, they're trying to go from a mini major to a major.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's cool.
we'll see how that goes.
Civil War.
yeah, so check it out. I don't know what Eric's gonna say. I'm excited.
Yeah, we never got past that.
That's right. This is brand new information.
If we have to do this again, Eric, I'm going to say fuck it.
That's right. I think we've all seen this one, which recently opened on Shudder. Late Night with the Devil.
You finally got to see it?
Yeah.
I've been wanting to see this one for frigging months.
Yeah.
But man, I'd say I liked it. I liked it a lot. But I've liked the other ones that it's been compared to,
Which is
Ghost Watch and
WNUF.
WNUF Halloween special.
No, there's an indie one that was put out, which was based on a short film that was at Crypticon several years ago. I'm blanking on the name of it. That is similar.
Okay.
But that one's a couple guys set up their own cameras and are shooting possessed.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah.
So before we dive deeper, what did the two of you think?
I liked it a lot, and I thought it fell apart poorly at the very end. It turned into a bad Twilight Zone episode, and I was like, no, this was so fucking great. Why this ending?
I didn't mind the ending. I had a great time with it. I just enjoyed the ride all the way through, and it got pretty fucking wild, and I was like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah, I kind of went more along those lines too, where I was just like, okay, this is quite the way to end this.
Yeah.
But and I think some of this might be, if you're old enough, the things they tapped into so well from the 70s is they didn't make him just like a Johnny Carson level funny kind of guy. He was not that funny.
Right.
But he told the right kind of late night jokes for the 70s, and he bombed in kind of the right way. But his acting and his portrayal of what was going on was so damn good that I thought, to me, it's like, oh, this was all planned. He's not a good actor. This is all part of what was going on with it. And I think it captured that time of late night exceedingly well.
Yeah.
Looked really, really cool.
Yeah.
Shockingly good, and all of the costumes and hair worked. Watching people smoke and drink, hold a cigarette in the same hand as their tumbler full of scotch is always funny for me.
Yes. Yeah.
But on TV is especially funny. I did see the stuff that people were complaining about with the AI imagery.
Yeah.
And I was just
the titles?
Yeah. And I was like, boy, why wouldn't you just get an artist to do this? I mean, but here's the reason why. Because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
It costs them.
Money. Low. It's a relatively low. I don't know what the budget is, but I know it isn't huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say it was very jarring to see Late Night with the Devil and then watch Ant-Man and Ant-Man 2. where he is like one of the like comical like side
Oh,
characters
he is?
with
Oh,
a
really?
thick accent. He's sort of meant to be Slavic and like, oh man, it is wild. It's just like you've got range, sir.
He's
Brava.
he's such an odd-looking dude that when I first heard about this, I was like, why are they making him the lead of a television show? He's not handsome enough. And then seeing him, I was like, he's fucking perfect. He
Yeah.
looks
He's-
exactly like he should look for this.
Yeah, he looks great.
David Dashmalian.
Yeah.
He was also the opening segment guy from The Boogeyman. The guy who comes in who's talking to the
Oh.
Oh, really?
psychotherapist.
Oh. Oh.
So
okay.
he's
Interesting.
he's got a good thing going, and I hope he continues having a good thing going.
Grief. He was in
Agreed.
Oppenheimer.
Oh, he was in Oppenheimer
Yeah.
too?
Named character. I don't know how big a character was, but apparently he's in that. Yeah, he looks like he's one of those of the moment actors who's
Yeah.
Yeah.
in it.
People realize.
But I would say for me, the hype is real. I think it's well worth checking out.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I have read a few people feeling the same way you did about the end. That's like, what the hell was this? It worked for me, but that's just because I was so into everything he was doing. I was just like, okay, sure.
Yeah, I think
Take me in this weird freaking direction.
I think I felt that way too. Although there were definitely things that I thought they were going to expand a lot more on, like the cult in the woods. I was like kind of waiting for certain things I thought were going to become bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reference that really didn't get paid off too strongly later.
Yeah,
on.
I don't want to get too much into spoilers, but there was
Sure.
a few
Exactly.
things there that I was kind of like, I didn't get this explained clearly enough to me to understand why it is such a big part. And for me, I would have loved this to end with, it's set up like a documentary of this night. And so
Yeah.
when it goes into that ending, it doesn't quite work
Yeah,
because
agreed.
we're watching a documentary and the ending is something that a documentary wouldn't have
Ooh,
access to.
yeah. Yes.
So I would have loved it if we then just pulled out and saw a post-apocalyptic Earth that had been taken over by demons or something, and we were just watching a documentary on the end of the world, or something like that
Hmm.
would have pleased me more than the one we got. But otherwise, I mean, I was all in all the way through. I'm only angry because it was so good up to that point.
Yeah,
Mm,
I can see that.
fair. Definitely fair.
Cool.
enough.
Late Night with the Devil. It's on Shudder. All right, guys. I talked about this one a while ago, but you guys don't know that, so I will talk about it again. I saw a movie called Immaculate.
Oh yeah.
This
how's
is one
that?
of two nuns who have immaculate conception movies. that
Nuns are making a comeback at last. Finally.
I mean,
I've been waiting.
right. We
miss
knew it was
those
coming.
70s nuns. Bring them back.
Yeah, this is the one with, I think her name is Sydney Sweeney. She of the big breasts. And she is really, really good in this.
Hmm.
This movie is really good, but it is not an easy movie because she goes to this convent and then suddenly she's pregnant. And at first, the priests and Monsignor and everything are like, they're interrogating her. Did you have relations with a man before you came here? And all of this stuff. And she's like, and she's super confused because she's like, no, what's going on? And that's when they let her know that she's pregnant. And it's really interesting. It is a slow burn. It doesn't have a lot of the demonic imagery you think a movie like this would have,
Mhm.
and which I heard that the first Omen does have some pretty crazy monster type stuff.
Ooh.
This one does not have that, but it's far more unsettling because in one scene they're cutting a nun's tongue out and
Ugh.
stuff like this, and this poor girl gets so badly tortured through this movie that I was just I was really unsettled by this movie. So I would say this is a absolute recommendation, but not an easy movie to watch.
Oh man.
Very hard. Made me very uncomfortable. Immaculate.
I've always found the idea of religion with the story of the Immaculate Conception and all that stuff. But whenever it comes up again, everybody's like, well, this must be the devil's work. It's like, well, how did you know the first one wasn't the devil's work?
Oh boy, Eric. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
no, that's a great question.
Making friends on this episode.
Yes, because we've never talked about our thoughts on religion before.
Yeah.
our special Easter episode.
What was I listening to where somebody had theorized that God was really the devil and that he had just convinced us all that he was God? And I was like, well, this is an interesting take.
Yeah,
it was
go.
not a fiction thing. It was some kind of weird podcast I was listening to.
Weird.
I was like, okay, I have not heard this one before.
Sure, why not?
This would explain why everything on Earth is so fucking shitty.
Oh my God.
Trick or treat.
I'm gonna.
That's right. Okay, what movie would you like to talk about then?
So I finished season 1 of Fallout.
Oh, cool. Okay. And?
Yeah. I think that that holds up. It was super fun. Like I told you guys on the previous podcast, Fallout's one of my favorite video games. Yeah. So I'm an easy target, but I'm also a hard target because I have high expectations. Sure. And if it was like other adaptations, would be pissed. But they did a great job of keeping that like kind of sick humor in there, where it's not just brutal and like horrible wasteland with Mad Max style things going around and people fucking each other over. No, it's also hilarious. Like when certain things happen, like you don't want to see people, lose a leg or get their head smashed, but it is nice that it's kind of a punchline a lot of the times when it happens. So that's a big plus. I think that the final episode worked really well, and they're clearly going to have a season 2. So.
I thought I heard that they've signed up for 2 and 3 already.
I would not be surprised.
It was like one of Amazon's most successful shows they've had, or something like that, as far as number of streamings as fast.
And I didn't realize too that the lead from that, the Fallout girl, is also the kind of cheerleader chick from Yellow Jackets.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. And she's actually British in real life. And I was like, this is the layers. The layers here. My brain.
Is she British in the
No
video game? Okay.
No. She's no. It was just interesting. I heard an interview with her where she had a very thick British accent, and I was like, wow. Huh. You've played 2 very, very American ladies, and now
we've gone from the Australians doing everything back to the British doing everything.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
You lost that.
This movie belongs on every British hit list.
Oh, jeez, Louise. Oh.
So, guess what? Guess who I've returned to?
No.
Yes.
Is it Walter Hill?
It is Walter Hill.
Thank you.
And,
Eric.
I think you actually talked about this one not too long ago, Kelly.
Yeah.
Supernova.
Oh, no, you talked about it. Because you were like, that was for our...
Did I?
What was the... what's the director name if you don't want your name on a film?
Okay. So way back during the... Alan Smithy, you
picked this one because it was really Walter Hill.
Yep. Yeah, it didn't get a lot better. As I'm watching this going, before I started, I'm going, I know I've seen this before, but not that recently. And this is one of his weirder, weaker films. I can only imagine because there's some high level talent on this movie.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine there might have been some behind the scenes feuding and
I'll bet if you go to the Alan Smithy episode, you can hear all about it because I'm sure that you went in depth on the trivia.
I bet I did. And so that being said, I'm just going to move on from this one and say this is not Walter Hill's best work. If you're really fascinated, go check it out. But if you want to see a good Walter Hill movie, go watch The Driver or Warriors or any of his many, many fantastic films.
Yeah, I can't remember what you had said was the reason why I think it got taken away from him.
Yeah, that sounds right. Because it was not released under his name. It wasn't Alan Smithy. There's the other one they had, like in the early 2000s, everybody knew what that meant. So they switched it to like Logan, something weird, something completely different. But it didn't feel like his film. It didn't move like one of his films. And it seemed like it was definitely altered a lot from what he had done.
Which is a bummer because how cool does a when was it? 90s?
I think it's like 2000, 2001. It was right in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, but how cool does a sci-fi movie, big budget, special effects, directed by Walter Hill sound? That sounds amazing.
Sounds pretty good. And there was a kernel of a good story. I mean, it's basically Aliens in a way where somebody finds a power source or something and they want to bring it back, and I'll cut you in on the money, and then all shit goes bad.
Yeah.
But and James Spader's pretty good in it, even though he's weird.
Okay, this is coming back to me. So this is the movie that the script had been passed around Hollywood for so long that other movies had stolen things from it because they were being made before it. Yeah. So like, what's the hell ship movie that everybody loves? Was supposed to be.
Yeah. Oh, weird.
Definitely see that one.
Yeah.
I always said Extent. Like, no, that's
no.
That's definitely not it.
I can see the cover. I can even see the font that the title is written in. I can't see the title. God. Kids, don't do drugs.
Let's see. That's going to bug me. So let's find this out. Sam Neill was in it.
We need a producer, Mission Control, who sits off to the side
totally,
and
who
just
can just
types
tell,
up
like,
whatever I do something like this.
You should just get Carlos to sit off screen with his phone.
And then he can just throw something at us, a piece of paper that we unwrap and go, it's called.
It's
you know, as soon as you said that, my brain immediately imagined Carlos somehow, his brain just went ding. And about 20 minutes from now, he's going to show up at the front door going, you want me to do what?
We've willed him into it.
I just backed a Kickstarter game that's a ripoff of this as well, which is just...
Event Horizon.
There it is.
I kept thinking Infinite something. Event Horizon. Event Horizon stole so much of the Supernova script and came out before it that they tried to rewrite as they were making it, and it just all fell apart.
It also has a weird problem that Walter Hill he doesn't do a lot of sex in his movies. And there is a ton of it in this, and it's handled weird, and it seems unnecessary. So I'm wondering if that was a part of that was put in there too. Because if you think through his films, nudity and sex is never really anything that's been something he does.
Yeah.
I mean, even in like 48 Hours, the nude dancers weren't actually nude.
Right.
So it just seems like this was not his wheelhouse. Something definitely changed in the middle of production. So.
Okay, I really hope you edit down that space between where we were looking at this film so they don't have to go through all of that. Why don't we take a little break then, you guys? And when we come back, we are talking celestial events. Are we talking celestial events this episode?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
On April 8th, two ancient rivals collide. Moon Pie presents Sun vs. Moon 24. Brutality and the totality.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Sun!
Ooh, that is a mean crowd.
They do not like him at all.
A solar eclipse smackdown.
Uh-oh. What's this?
The moon! And he's got the limited time Eclipse Survival Kit Moon Pie Mini!
The Sun doesn't even have a snack, Kim.
Who will win?
Are you ready to meet the dark side of the moon? Because I'm casting you into my shadow, son!
Nobody knows.
Actually, the moon will cover the sun for exactly 4 minutes and 27 seconds.
Nobody knows.
This is quite terrifying.
You better go out there and get you some moon pies for this here eclipse, because the sun is about to go down.
Moon Pie presents Sun vs. Moon 24. Brutality and the totality. April 8th, 1:27 p.m. Central Time.
Brought to you by Moon Pie.
The official snack of the solar eclipse.
Moon pie, moon pie, moon pie, moon pie, moon pie.
We have returned after a lovely text from my mom. Mom, thank you very much. I don't need Jif peanut butter. I bought my own peanut butter.
Did you find a big jar?
I did not find a big jar.
I took a picture of a big jar in the supermarket and forgot to send it to you. It's my local.
My mom is amazing. And also not Jewish, but you'd not know it from her text, which was, Kelly, I love your podcast. It's the only time I get to see you.
The underscore of guilt being sent out, yes.
Vanessa, this was your subgenre. You want to explain what you were thinking and what it is?
Yeah, so this is kind of space events in space, natural, whatever, natural, unnatural, sort of something having to do with a chunk of space. That's interesting.
Wow. And this came about because of the very recent solar eclipse we just had.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. So I was like, wow, there's too few eclipse movies to have just done that. But I think that there's all kinds of interesting space phenomena. So there was a film I wanted to revisit, and this was a great opportunity.
Well, why don't you tell us what it is? I will put 10 minutes on the buzzer for you.
Yeah. So long time ago, I saw the film Another Earth.
This is Dr. Joan Tallis, the United States planet Earth. Do you read me? Is anyone out there? We're getting feedback. Let's try another channel. Hello? Hello? This is Dr. Joan Tallis.
What does that mean? I don't understand what
Kimberly,
that means.
In the grand history of the cosmos, more than 13,000 million years old, our Earth is replicated elsewhere. There's another you out there. Now you begin to wonder, has the other me made the same mistakes I've made? And is that me better than this me?
Let me tell you a story. It's about a girl. She does something unforgivable. She goes to apologize, but she loses her nerve. She lies to him. She thinks she might be able to make his life a little bit better. It was really just a way to survive what I've done.
Please don't go.
You don't know what's out there.
That's why I would go.
This is a place that I call my home.
From 2011, so it gave me a great chance to see it again. This had a Rotten Tomato score of critics 66%. Audience agrees with 66%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. Budget 100K, box office 1.9 million. Yeah.
Huh.
So,
I guess I don't know this movie.
yeah, it did pretty well. Written, directed, and produced by Mike Cahill. He actually only has 8 credits to his name, including Boxers and Ballerinas, I Origins, Bliss, and several TV episodes. But it's co-written and starring Britt Marling, who has 6 writing credits and 15 starring roles, all kind of the same. A Murder at the End of the World, The OA, The Sound of My Voice, The OA. Again, so Britt Marling is probably the most recognizable thing you would see from this film. That or the poster where it's a girl walking towards a dock on the water and another Earth is just sitting up above in the sky. It's also starring William Mapother, 98 credits to his name, most notably 11 episodes of Lost as Dr. Ethan Rom, a lot of TV walk-on roles. He is in some big films like Mission Impossible 2 and Magnolia, but only as super tiny background roles. So he's one of those guys that you're like, I think he just looks like another actor, because you're just like, what do I know you from? Oh, nothing. Okay. The story follows a girl named Rhoda, who is a super intelligent 17-year-old fascinated by astronomy. She's accepted into MIT and spends the night partying On the way home, a news story comes over the radio that they have discovered a second Earth-like planet, which was shadowed in our own solar system. They say if you peer up in the sky, you can see it right now. So she sticks her head out the window, and of course, she's drunk, and her car veers straight into another, killing the wife of the driver, his child, and his wife happens to be pregnant, and does a lot of damage.
Already.
So, not great. 4 years later, Rhoda is released from prison. Throughout the movie, you get a lot of these little like background news stories giving you updates on more discoveries they have with this other Earth. It seems to be getting closer to our own planet. And it turns out that not only is it Earth, but it is an identical Earth with mirroring of all the people living the same lives as ours, which is Earth 1, and they're now calling it Earth 2. So Rhoda, meanwhile, gets out, punishes herself for what she's done by trying to kill herself. That doesn't succeed, so she decides instead to work as a janitor at a high school, which I guess is second best.
The next best thing to suicide.
Absolutely. She decides that she must apologize to the man who survived the crash, but when she gets to his house, she loses her nerve and pretends she's from a cleaning service, offering him a free cleaning. He is super depressed, drunk, his house is full of trash, and he takes her up on it. So she finds herself becoming a regular cleaner for him, and then eventually friends, and then eventually lovers. So,
oh my.
Yeah. Meanwhile, a contest to go up to Earth 2 is set by a rich Australian man, not at all Richard Branson, who is taking a rocket with 15 people up there, and Rhoda applies. She writes a very compelling essay, and she is accepted. She decides to finally tell John, the man, the truth, and of course, he is furious. He kicks her out. He tells her he is going to murder her if she stays. She then hears that they believe that reality splintered between Earth 1 and 2 the moment that we noticed each other. So there is a chance that Earth 2 is different than Earth 1. She returns to John and gives him her ticket, telling him to go to see his wife and children. She stays on Earth 1, but her double arrives to visit. So this is
weird.
Another Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It is pretentious as fuck. This is the exact movie I would have said was my favorite movie when I was in my 20s. It is, I mean, the way she tries to commit suicide, she gets naked and lays on a beach. Okay. Burr, I guess.
To drown?
No. She's going to try to freeze to death.
Huh.
Yes. She wakes up in a space blanket. Because she's hot. She's sexy. So she's like, oh, yes, I must lay on the beach with my naked form and have my hair laid out and strewn because I am in pain. The guy, John, is a musician. At one point, he tries to woo her and plays the saw. As like a saw blade, but with totally. There's lots of superimposed public footage of space events and like the International Space Station and moon landing and stuff, fading in and over the top of footage. There's a lot of VO quotes being said by who knows about whatever interesting deep space events they want to talk about. It's handheld for no apparent reason. They have occasional pop zooms for no apparent reason. It's not a documentary. It's not a mockumentary. It's just using and borrowing those documentary styles. And of course, Earth 2 is always in the background whenever she's walking around quietly depressed, looking sexy. However, I love the concept. I just wish it worked a little better. And I think it's tough because the main character is a garbage human being. And it's really tough to feel sorry for her, even if she is so smart and had such potential. I'm like, you still suck and you still made bad decisions. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry that you're a very attractive woman who could have gone far in life, but I guess you didn't. It's weird how close Earth 2 gets to close 1. It's like, are they going to crash? They don't really address that. The truth is, I saw this movie and I thought it was incredible. And then later, I watched enough Brit Marling pieces that I grew to hate her. I find her incredibly irritating. I am the only one. Everyone else is like, the OA blew my mind. And I'm like, was the film or the time they thought they were so cool that they made that show out of it. Which time?
I'm not familiar with the OA.
I tried to watch it and couldn't get through it.
Okay, it makes me feel better. I feel kind of bad. I just find her frustrating because she often plays, it feels like she writes vehicles for herself to look cool. She's often playing like a messiah or a god or a leader or some kind of cool, crazy character. And she's always like gorgeous in it. And I don't know. It feels so narcissistic. There's just something about the work.
So I was looking her up out of curiosity, scrolling through her stuff. And it's all the kind of shit you're talking about. And then she has a guest spot on the Community.
Huh. Yes, that was very early on. Very early on. I saw that too. I was like, well, at least you had one humbling role in your time. A little bit of trivia. There's not much. Tagline is a mesmerizing mind bender to haunt your dreams.
Sure.
Sure. There is the scene where Britt Marling leaves prison was achieved by getting Marling to pose as a yoga instructor and enter and leave the prison for real. That's super ethical. Britt Marling approached Mephitar to star as John, and he agreed to make the film for $100 a day. And Mike Cahill filmed in New Haven, Connecticut, his hometown, so he could call on favors from family and friends to keep costs down. I mean, the only other thing is, like, I do want to see, she did a recent show called Murder at the End of the World or something like that. And I do want to see it. But as soon as I saw she was involved, I'm all like very hesitant now. So that's my movie.
I have questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they know that there's like a doppelganger of everybody on this other Earth.
Yes.
But they know that before they've gone to visit?
Yeah, so they finally get a radio call over there when it gets close enough. And it is the same woman calling herself. Essentially, it's the lead of SETI. And she says, oh, who's this? At first, she thinks it's an echo and there's a problem with the mic, but it's actually her. And they start recounting their childhood to each other and like things that only they would know. And it turns out that they've had the exact same like parallel life. So there's a lot of stuff because of the limits of the budget that happens sort of off screen or through these news stories that are put over the top. And I think that the idea is once they find that out, they start finding out that everybody kind of has this, it's more than just this one person. It's consistent.
How big? Okay, thank you. That's an answer. How big is the other Earth, when she's walking along? I mean, is it like the size of the moon, or?
Yeah, eventually it becomes just the size of the moon. It seems about the size of the moon, and then before that, it kind of grows. So initially, it's a lot smaller.
The idea of this other celestial body getting this close to Earth and the gravity that it would destroy our planet, is that ever?
Oh, no. I guess they did film a scene at one point where there were like flower petals that like go up, but they cut it. I think that they maybe in theory thought it might be cool to talk about it. But I think if they did, which they didn't, it would be this existential, like, who knows what's going to happen when the Earth gets really close to the other Earth, Life.
Sounds like it would fit in well with the description of the movie you had to have just that kind of a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
Oh, wow.
This reminds me very little of the episode of Saturday Night Live. I'm aging myself here. Do you guys remember Father Sarducci?
Oh, yeah.
And he was talking about how, this has been a theory too, that there was an identical Earth directly opposite us on the other side of the sun, and so we never actually see it. And he was
Same
like,
idea.
It's full of people who are just like us. Everybody's just the same. And the only difference is they eat their corn on the cob like this. Top to bottom instead of side to side. And I don't know why I thought that was so funny at the time, but I thought that was pretty fucking funny.
That's pretty good. I would not be surprised if that is where the idea for this came from, frankly. But who knows? Who is to say?
Should have had somebody eat the corn like that just once.
That would have been great. That would have been great. All right, I'll go next, Eric, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay. I'm putting 10 minutes on the buzzer, and I saw a fucking amazing movie called Bloody Birthday.
Some birthdays are unforgettable. Bloody Birthday, the overwhelming horror. Bloody Birthday. It is a night that no one will survive.
Ooh.
From 1981. Have you guys seen this one?
I don't think I have.
Okay. This is on Tubi, I think. I could find no budget or box office. Rotten Tomato critics have it at 75%, and the audience has it at 36%. And I say, fuck you guys. This movie is great. Written and directed by Ed Hunt, who has 13 credits, including Starship Invasions, The Brain, Halloween Hell,
Okay.
and it is also co-written by a guy named Barry Pearson, who has 18 credits, including Plague, Firebird 2015 AD, and also The Brain. Firebird 2015 AD has a poster that makes me really want to watch this movie because it's post-apocalyptic, and this guy's got a Trans Am Firebird.
That's pretty fun. That's pretty fun.
Starring Lori Lethin. 38 credits, mostly one-off episodes of television, including Dukes of Hazzard, Magnum P.I., The A-Team, and Different Strokes. Also starring Billy Jacoby, who has 77 credits. You will recognize this. These are child actors, but you will recognize this kid from all sorts of movies. He was in Nightmares, Demon Warp, and he was the little brother in Just One of the Guys.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yep. Elizabeth Hoy, who has 14 credits, including The Blues Brothers, X-Ray, Children in the Crossfire, and then the rest are TV episodes. And also starring Andy Freeman, who has 5 credits, TV stuff. Episodes of 8 is Enough, The Magical World of Disney, and Promised Land. Also starring Julie Brown from Before MTV, Joe Penny, Bert Kramer, and Jose Ferrer.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So we start with this doctor arriving to attend to 3 women in labor, and as he's walking towards the hospital, we see in the sky above an eclipse is starting, right? So, solar eclipse. So 2 boys and a girl are born during this eclipse. They are Curtis, Stephen, and Debbie. 10 years later.
Oh, my God.
So they're 10 years old now. We see a young couple fooling around in a cemetery at night, which I guess was a thing. It must have been a thing because it was in every fucking movie from 1981.
You're not going to get caught in a cemetery.
I guess not. They are attacked and killed by unknown assailants. They are bashed in the heads with shovels and then tossed into a recently dug grave.
Oh my.
And then dirt poured over them.
Holy crap.
Yep. That same night, Joyce is interrupted from the homework she's working on when her brother Timmy sneaks in the window and lies about having accidentally locked himself out while feeding the dog. Her 10-year-old brother. The next day, Joyce goes to an elementary school where she is volunteering for her civics class to find Sheriff Brody talking to Mrs. Davis's class about the murder. He shows the children a jump rope handle that was found at the scene of the crime and asks if anyone was in the cemetery the night before. Debbie and Curtis, who are 2 of the kids who were born during the eclipse, they say nothing, but they're giving each other kind of knowing looks. And when the sheriff leaves, he says goodbye to his daughter, which is Debbie.
Oh.
So these 3 eclipse babies are also best friends. And when they all get to Debbie's house after school, she brings them up to the closet in her room and charges them each a quarter to watch through a peephole as her older sister Beverly strips down and dances around while she's changing clothes.
As you do.
Yeah.
Every woman does this.
This is Julie Brown from Earth Girls Are Easy. So if you want to see her naked, here's your shot.
Excellent.
Later, Debbie calls her father outside while she's playing. Her father is the sheriff, right? He steps over a skateboard that Curtis had laid on the stairs in the hopes of watching him fall.
Oh, Jesus.
But Debbie drops her skip rope on the ground and shows him that it is missing its handle. While he is distracted, Stephen beats the sheriff from behind with his wooden baseball bat as Debbie watches on. So her own father, she sets up to be killed.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Yep.
All right.
Then the non-murderous kid shows up, Timmy, who had snuck in the window at the beginning. While the murderous kids are arranging the sheriff's body on the stairs, making it look like the father/sheriff had fallen and hurt himself. So he kind of sees these kids doing this, and he's like, the fuck? After the sheriff's funeral, Curtis, Stephen, and Timmy is the non-murderous kid, they go playing hide and seek in the junkyard. And while Stephen counts, Curtis dares Timmy to hide inside an old refrigerator and then locks him in.
But of course.
Timmy finally manages to escape and returns home where he tells his sister, Joyce, about the incident. And she doesn't believe him because this is the same kid that snuck into the window earlier saying that he had accidentally locked himself out. So she's like, You were fucking around and, whatever. So fuck off. One of the kids steals the sheriff's gun from his closet. And then a few days later, he shoots his teacher with a revolver.
Oh, yes.
And when Joyce shows up to volunteer, she discovers the body in a closet.
Oh, jeez.
I have seen this one.
Have you?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
So when she gets home, Joyce finds a note from her little brother, Timmy, telling her that he is playing in the junkyard, which he expressly told him he could not do anymore. Unbeknownst to her, but known to us, this message was left by the shitty murderous kids instead. So they have lured her to the junkyard to find her brother. And then when she shows up there, they try to run her over with a junk car. They are wearing a sheet with holes in it to, like a ghost, like a Charlie Brown ghost, to avoid being identified. But she manages to escape.
Wow.
That night, Joyce shows Timmy how she creates horoscopes, which is her thing. And then she says, I don't know if any of this is true, but it's here in the movie, so this is what they're going with. She says, the solar eclipse during the births of Debbie, Curtis, and Stephen blocked Saturn, the planet that controls the way a person treats other people.
Oh, no.
Which means that something is missing from their personalities.
Oh, my God.
Love it.
That's incredible.
So, what they don't know while she is telling him this is that Curtis is outside with the revolver, hoping to kill them, but then he gets scared off when car headlights see him. So instead, he wanders the street until he finds a young couple having sex in a groovy van, and he opens the door and shoots and kills them instead.
You got to get it somehow.
Yes.
Right.
So the next night, Debbie, who's the little girl, she calls Curtis and Stephen to her house. This is the 3 Eclipse babies. There's too many names in this, so I'm trying to keep everybody.
I appreciate it.
And they then kill her sister with a bow and arrow after tricking her into looking through the peephole where she's sitting there with the arrow like this. And as soon as her sister looks in, boink, right in the eye.
Oh, my God.
It's lovely. When the boys arrive, they are disappointed that she didn't wait for them, but they help her move the body away from the house so it can be discovered somewhere else. The next day, Debbie lures Joyce, the older sister who's good, lures her to her house by pretending she needs a babysitter, which is a weird way to do things. Basically, my mom is going to be gone for this. Would you be willing to babysit? Joyce is like, I guess so. So Joyce agrees, unaware that it is a trap. And after Joyce and Timmy, her younger brother, arrive at Debbie's house, she lets Curtis and Stephen in the back door. And they try to shoot Joyce while Debbie uses her jump rope and bow and arrow in an attempt to kill the two. Debbie likes using the jump rope like a garrote, where she wraps it around you, and then she's tightening it, she's pulling and trying to strangle you and all this stuff. These kids are fucking fantastic in this movie. They're really good, and you're just like, holy fuck, will somebody fucking catch these kids?
Oh, my God.
Will Joyce and Timmy manage to escape these tiny terrors and manage to lock one in a trunk, and tie another up with electrical wires?
Ooh.
Will Debbie escape through a window just as her mother arrives home and then tell her mother that Curtis and Stephen did a bunch of bad things and Joyce was going to blame her for it? And will her mother believe her and flee with her? The police arrest Curtis and Stephen, much to the shock and anger of the townfolk. And will we see a final scene with Debbie and her mother and find out that they've changed their names to avoid the police, but that Debbie has clearly not changed her murderous ways?
Oh, my God.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, you guys, this is a great little flick. Yeah. I absolutely loved it. Okay, I wrote here, I watched it on Prime. Tagline: the nightmare begins with the kids next door.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Trivia: the film's French title is Les Tueurs de l'Eclipse, meaning the killers of the eclipse, and its German release title was Kinder des Teufels, meaning children of the devil.
Wow.
I love Children of the Devil.
That's pretty good.
That's a good one.
Director-writer Ed Hunt came up with the angle of the children being evil because of their birth during an eclipse after reading an article about astrology. The article claimed that astrology influenced the deaths of presidents sitting in office every 20 years.
Wow.
God, we can only hope. Despite popular belief that the film was shelved for 5 years after being shot, it has been confirmed that it was shot in early shot in early 1980 and released in 1981. That was my movie. It is called Bloody Birthday because there is a birthday scene where this kid tries to poison everybody with rat poison at his birthday.
Oh my God.
This is one of those that's I sought out when I got older because of the VHS cover.
Yes.
With that great birthday cake with fingers as candles.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how I have never seen this before, but I'm so thrilled that I did see it.
Wow.
What a pleasure. Eric, would you like to go next?
Sure.
Let me put 10 minutes.
Veer severely to a different part of the film world with this one. And I give you 2002's, or 2002? No, that's got to be wrong. There's no freaking way
Getting
this
off to
movie
a bad
came out in
start,
2002. I'm guessing. I accidentally transposed some numbers there. No, 2002. Okay, thought it was a lot newer than that. Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
This one has a Rotten Tomatoes, 69 from critics, 72 from the audience. A little bit larger budget than either one of your films at $140 million.
Whoa.
For a cartoon.
And worldwide, it made 110. So this is available on Disney Channel, and it's out for rent on a variety of other places. The director has, shall we say, some pedigree in Disney movies. Ron Clements, who directed Moana, Aladdin, The Little Mermaid,
wow,
Hercules, and The Great Mouse Detective.
Holy cow.
And a second director, John Musker, who's directed Moana, Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Hercules, and Great Mouse Detective.
Sensing a pattern.
Among other things. Writers on this, Robert Louis Stevenson. He was actually listed first on the credits. Like,
wow.
okay, well, he wrote Treasure Island. Had nothing to do with writing the film. This was written by Ron Clements, who has also written Moana, Aladdin. You know, you get the rest from that. But he also wrote Black Cauldron, which I think is one of the great underrated Disney movies. And unimpressively, almost all the Aladdin and Little Mermaid sequels, none of which have been particularly good.
You know what? Everybody's got to pay rent.
That's right. John Musker also wrote it. Guess what else he's written? Yeah, you get the idea. So this stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who you might know from Glass Onion, Knives Out, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, The Muppets, Inception, and Brick. Awesome underrated film there too. And Emma Thompson, who from Johnny English Strikes Again, A Walk in the Woods, and Men in Black, many other things. Martin Short, who was in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. The Cat in the Hat knows a lot about that. And Primetime Glick, plus actually some good shit. Roscoe Lee Brown, who was in Logan's Run, Superfly TNT, The Cowboys, and 16 episodes of the sadly forgotten sitcom Soap.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't hear a lot of people talking about Soap. So there's a decent film. It was a good, fun film. It is definitely a Disney film. The narrator's voice at the beginning, wow, man. Tony J, who's worked on 185 projects, a whole lot of them, including an H.H. Holmes documentary. And I can tell why, because the man can narrate anything. This animation is amazing, which I'm going to get into later because it is truly innovative. And you got a little windsurfing opening that's sort of like the first Star Wars episode when they're going through the pod races.
Okay.
Looks a lot like that. But apparently he's on probation and he's not supposed to do that. When he gets home, the police are there and they say, can't do that no more. This is called solar surfing, which that's kind of a cool name for what he's doing. The story is straightforward as hell. You know, the mom's place is in trouble and they need money. An alien crashes nearby with a treasure map, and then quickly dies. And so the kid takes the treasure map and goes, "Let's go find it." And there's a family friend who's there with him. Go, I'm going to help you. So they hire a boat and they head out. The first character they meet on the boat, his language is flatulence.
Oh.
Everything he says is a fart.
I don't think I'd like this movie.
One guy's like, no, I speak. I speak his language.
Oh, no.
The ship looks spectacular in space. The concept of space is completely ignored for this movie. And nothing's shielded. There's no bubbles. Nobody wears oxygen things. So it's just a fantasy world of space. But watch out. There are villains on board this ship.
Uh-oh.
A Captain Hook kind of character who, instead of a hook, has a big old cool automatic arm that does all kinds of crazy shit. There is some pretty good music in it. Some of it, obvious ploy for the Disney hit song. And they did all right. The I'm Still Here and I Always Know Where You Are from the Goo Goo Dolls frontman and British pop group BB Mac. So, the bad guy starts to, I'm not entirely certain why, has a story. I mean, I know why they did it in the long run, but why he decided to befriend the kid and sort of be a father figure to him. I'm guessing at some point he noticed, because he doesn't seem to know he has the map until later on. So I'm not quite sure what he does, but he does that and begins to grow fondly of the young man. And they encounter a supernova. Right?
Yeah.
All right, Walter Hill influencing and helping other filmmakers. But the supernova turns into a black hole, which starts to pull them in. So the evil guys take advantage of this and toss off the one super tough good guy that's there, so he goes into the black hole. And they're conspiring and stuff, but of course the kid's hiding in a barrel nearby because he's been chasing his cute little, you always got to have that cute little sidekick who may or may not speak. In this case, he does not, or it does not. And so he's in the barrel listening to them talk about that. And they ask, well, it seems like you like the boy too much. No, I don't. So, kid gets all upset and sad. And then they kind of take over the ship, but the captain, played by Emma Thompson, and the kid and his friend escape on one of their life rafts down to the planet below, where they discover the maps and all this stuff, and the fact that whoever this original pirate was a vindictive, selfish little shit. It's like, dude, you don't have to protect your treasure that much. But now I'm going to dive into the making of the movie because it's far more interesting. The movie itself is good. It's fine. Good Disney movie, not a great Disney movie. One weird little note. And watch this movie. Oh, there's still a lot left. I wonder what it's going to be. 10 minutes of credits.
Oh, sure.
And it's not slow. These are regular speed scrolling credits. I'm like, holy shit. Treasure Planet took about 4.5 years to make. The concept for it, which was originally called Treasure Island in Space, anyways, was originally pitched by Ron in 1985 at the meeting that led to the Gong Show movie, from the way this is worded. But he also pitched The Little Mermaid. The pitch for Treasure Island was ditched, and Paramount Pictures was not interested because at the time they were working on a Star Wars sequel, which would have been a Treasure Island angle, but that was never made.
Okay.
So,
Paramount?
yeah, he went to Paramount with the idea of it too, apparently.
Huh.
But Paramount didn't own Star Wars. That's
Star Trek.
Oh, Star Trek. Okay.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The human characters are hand drawn. So the human characters are regular 2D traditional Disney animation. The cyborg's arm on John Silver is arm, eye, the robot Ben, who's one of the funny little characters they find on the planet, are all flat rendered CGI.
Oh, okay.
And the ship was created using the deep canvas, which is something they've used throughout the years. Like I think Pinocchio was one of the first ones to use it, which is more of an art as opposed to a drawn background. All three of these were designed to be used simultaneously. And man, it works. It really, really works. Each major character in the film had a team of animators that was led by a supervisor. And the supervisors actually had influence on the style of the characters. So as they went along, the Glenn Kane, who was in charge of John Silver, as well as John Ripa, who was in charge of the Jim Hawkins character, the lead, got their personalities and quirks a little bit into it, just like you would take the voice animator or the voice actor and apply what they do to the actor. These animators did that same thing. The director liked what they were doing, so it was all kept in. One of the goals for the film was to blend these different medias of animation into one film so it could be seamlessly presented with hand-drawn and computer-drawn blended together. And for the most part, I think it worked spectacularly well. There's a depth to the ship and the background, especially when they're in space, that is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And would not work hand-drawn. It would just be, or I guess you could hand draw it, but it would take fucking years.
Wow.
And one other thing they wanted to do because of this, the reason they wanted to do the 3D stuff with the backgrounds and things, because they wanted to be able to move the camera around more like a Spielberg or a Cameron movie as opposed to a Disney movie. And they do that, especially in the space scenes and the planet, Treasure Planet. And man, it's a unique looking Disney film.
Yeah.
While not feeling like when Toy Story came out, it's like, this is separate. This is very different from the animation we're used to. This blends in to where it was. I'm a little surprised it didn't do a little better, but Disney being Disney, when it first started to fail, instead of pulling back, they just doubled down and added another $40 million in their advertising budget.
Oh, sure.
Wow.
And so they lost about $80 million easily on the film.
Oh, gosh.
But I would say, if you like Disney at all, or if you like sci-fi, family sci-fi-ish movies, check it out. It's pretty good.
I remember liking this one. I didn't see it until I was well into my 30s.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking, oh, this isn't that bad. It's no Muppet Treasure Island.
True.
But
there you go.
It's, as far as Treasure Island movies go, I thought it was fine. And I did think it was really cool looking.
Yeah,
Very
I never caught this one, but I'm guessing that there was just something about the setup, like treasure movies at that time were just not a thing. Like
Yeah.
people just, the appetite wasn't there.
Well, you have lots of opportunities to watch Disney movies in the future.
I know it. This is what I've actually been holding off on watching very much because I'm like, I'm going to have to watch so much. So much.
Did
of
you watch
shit.
this on Disney?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Disney Plus.
Incredible.
Whatever it's called now.
Disney Plus.
It's
Disney
still
Plus.
Disney. Okay. They changed their color of their logo and shit.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah, it's great when you log into Disney and there's a giant ad for Poor Things on there. You're like, yeah. It's weird because they're comboing with Hulu more and more. And I'm
Yeah.
like, at what point are you guys just going to merge?
that's sort of like Max now with the Discovery Channel
yeah.
stuff. So there's all this weird cooking shows and shit like that showing up
Yeah,
on
like
Max.
rich people following them around with cameras. Yeah, that kind of crap. Sucks.
Lovely. Okay. Well,
Anyway.
so Vanessa, cool idea. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Eric, I think you have the next subgenre
I
pick.
do. So I figure I'm pretty sure we've done this before at least once. So let's dive back up into a nice wide realm of a whole lot of shit to pick from.
Okay.
Movie based on a book.
I love it.
Nice. That sounds great.
Yep. Cool.
Big book lover myself. So
Really?
I like graphic
You should be a writer.
You should read something sometime. I don't know.
I might. I might
Stop
read
just
some
watching
tonight.
movies all the time, you pleb.
All right. With that in mind, then, this is the part where we thank everybody, the listeners, for liking and sharing posts, for commenting on the Strange Eons Radio talk page, for dropping us a line on the Strange Eons Radio hotline, which is 253-237-4266, and also for participating in the value for value model, which is very simple. If you get some kind of value out of this, turn around and give some kind of value back.
There you go.
It can be monetarily or it can be doing any of the things we just talked about.
Yeah. Share us around. Let people know about us. That's the best way for people to discover podcasts is somebody tells them it, because there's just so damn many of them anymore.
Commenting on the YouTube videos is a big deal.
It's a very big deal. Yeah, it really helps. Like, liking is great, but also making a comment. Also, I had this notion on the way up here. If you were ever curious and really want at some point, but you're not sure when, to call our hotline, and then all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, you're like, oh, I want to call it, but I don't remember the number. Put it in your phone. Just put it in your phone.
That's a good point.
You can drunk dial us.
Right.
You can board dial us.
Oh my gosh.
Anytime. 253-237-4266. Put it in your phone.
What a
Put it under
idea.
SAR, nice and easy.
There you go.
Super
strange.
easy.
Strange works well too.
There you go. All right. Good idea, Vanessa. It's about time you started coming up with something.
Oh my God. Sassy one over here.
That's the show. We'll be back in 7 short days, and we are talking about movies based on a book. See you next Thursday. Transportation and other considerations for Strange Eons Radio, produced by Pan Am Airlines. When you think of traveling, think of Pan Am. You can't beat the experience. Guests of Strange Eons Radio stay at Econo Lodge Everett. It's an easy stop on the road, you know what we mean. Strange Eons Radio is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a positive review on your favorite podcast app. Sit, Ubu, sit. 400 minutes into this episode when Eric stood up and said, wait a second, I don't think I pressed record on the camera.